Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for joining me and I hope you consider subscribing. Today I'm going to show you how I made these poison apple candle holders and this adorable door hanger. They are more cute than spook, but that's how I get down for Halloween. Alright, let's get to it. A list of the supplies I used are in the description box below. Okay, so what I have here is one of those wooden apple containers from the Dollar Tree, and what I have done so far is I've just taken my sanding block because they are a little bit rough and just kind of smoothed it down a little bit. And then what I also did is when I got to these smaller areas, I just took a little piece of sandpaper and kind of went into these areas and sanded them down a little bit. So now, next what I want to do is come in with these colors. The body of the apple will be the crimson Waverly chalk paint. And you already know that I like to prime with the chalk paint. So this is an optional step, but for the leaf, I'm going to prime with the moss and then use the holiday green. And then for the stem, I'm going to prime with the hazelnut chalk paint and then go over it with just this brown Craftsmart acrylic paint. And so before I do that, I just want to kind of outline where I'm going to be because this obviously has no shape to it. So I'm just going to kind of do like a little bit of an outline here. And I don't know if this is going to get picked up, but I'm just going to do a little outline of kind of how I want my leaf to be shaped. So I don't know if you can see that and kind of get a rough idea of where the leaf will be in relation to how the stem will be. So I'm going to do that for both sides, and when I'm done, I'll be back. So I've painted the apple, and I did one coat of the red color, and even though I primed it with the Waverly chalk paint, the Craftsmart paint is a little thin, so I did have to do a couple coats of that. And you can see here that I left the backs and the inside of the apple just the wood color for now. Now, I realized after I did it that I did make a mistake. So what I want to do is draw a shape on this, and that part should have been left blank. So if you do recreate this project, you want to make sure that you do the shape here. So I'm just going to roughly sketch out now where I want to only do the red. You know, sometimes you get excited about doing something and you're not really thinking the steps all the way through. Yeah, coupled with the fact that I was up really late when I first started this, and so yeah, that's what happened there. So I'm just gonna do like a little, kind of like a little guideline for me to follow, and I'm gonna do that on both sides, and then I'm gonna come back in with this ivory chalk paint, and in between this area here, I'm going to paint that with the ivory. I'll just make the outline just so you can see, and then I'll finish it up here in a moment. So I just want to kind of follow along this line. And then I'm actually going to come in with this flat brush. And I just want to come right here first and just kind of do like a little half moon shape. Do like a half moon shape. Sorry, I had my brush in my mouth. Okay, and I just want to fill in all of this area with ivory. So this is what the apple is looking like now that I've gotten the ivory painted over it. Again, you wouldn't necessarily have to do the ivory if you go ahead and just make your squiggly lines before you paint it red, and know to stop here and then paint your stem and your leaf. So the next thing I'm going to do is come in with this neon green, which is by Craftsmart. And I also have this one here by Folk Art, and it's just a neon green. It's a neon paint line that they have, and it's the green color. I may add some of this to it, I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna for sure start with this one. So all I'm gonna do is take my little flat brush here and paint in this area here, and it is gonna take a couple of coats, looks like, but I'm gonna just paint in this area here and try to keep that as smooth as possible. This is what it looks like after I have used this neon green from Craftsmart. So far, it's looking a little flat to me, so I think I am going to go ahead and add some of this Folk Art. This is a little bit darker than the Folk Art one, so I'm just going to squeeze some off onto this mat here. Oops. And get some of that up here. And I'm going to go around like the edges here. And what I'm going to do is kind of blend it out. Sort of like in this motion here. And I'm going to do this all around. So I'm basically doing this just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I'm also going to come down here like this. And then before it dries, I'm going to come into this color, the lighter color, and kind of just blend those in the same area. Well, not in the same area, excuse me. I'm going to blend it from where the dark meets down into the lighter part. Okay, I'm going to give this an opportunity to dry and work on the other side, and then see if I need to do any more on this side. Alright, so I've gotten the green shaded out to how I like it on both sides, and I also came in with this red apple from Apple Barrel, and I cleaned up all the messy edges around here, and I also just went ahead and gave the other portions a coat of this red apple. So the next thing I want to do is to come and just give this leaf a little bit of details, and I'm using this campground paint by Craftsmart, and it's a darker green than the green that I did before. So I'm just going to work out of the cap here just because we only need a little bit, and I'm just going to go around with a fine tip paintbrush, and I'm just going to go around the edges. Okay, so that's what we have there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Okay, so that's what we have there. Other side. The next thing I have is I have some black and the red apple paint mixed here in this container. And what I want to do with this is to kind of make the apple look more like it's 3D. So I'm going to take some of this. I'm taking this flat brush, and what I'm going to do, and it's a smaller one, smaller than the one that I was using before. This is what I was using to paint the whole thing, so it's quite a bit smaller. And I'm going to come right up against where the green and the red meet, and I'm going to make an outline of this area. And I'm going to keep going until I run out of paint when I'm trying to define it. And I'm going to come back and kind of rub it in a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to get a little bit more paint on. And you just want a small amount of paint so you don't get it all over the place. And you just want to take your time and go around. And when you see you've run out of paint, like you can see here that it's not really making a mark, then you just come back and just blend that color out a little bit. Okay, so that's what you want there. Next, I'm gonna come in just kind of up at the top here and add a little bit of shadowing. So for the top, I'm gonna hold it this way so that my straight line, my most solid line, will be facing down. And then I'm just going to come up the side of the leaf as well with a little bit of this color. Then I'm going to do the same, just kind of rub it out. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to come along the edge of the leaf here. So that the darkest part of my line is up against the edge of the leaf. and I'm just gonna take some of that color off because I still had quite a bit on there, and then just kind of rub it out. So it creates kind of a shadow there. Alright, so that's what we have so far. So the next thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of the shadowing on the side here. And I'm just taking the side of the brush with a little bit of paint on it and just adding a little bit here. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my shine mark. I'm not sure what else it's called, but I call it a shine mark. So I'm going to be using my paint pen for this. You can most certainly use just paint. I thought it might be easier for myself to use the paint pen. So basically, oh, I guess I should show you. I did do a very light sketch. I don't know if you can see it on there or not, but it's basically like a curved exclamation mark. This pen has given me a little bit of trouble, but you can kind of get the idea of what I'm getting at here. Okay, so I thought I was filming, and unfortunately I wasn't, but I did paint the inside of the box gold, and it's with this Craft Smart bright gold acrylic paint. And I did a couple of, I want to say I did 3 or 4 layers on this. So the last step I'm going to do is actually take some of this Mod Podge here, and it's gloss, and I only want to cover the green area so it gives it that nice poison effect. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, that's a bit much. Make it work. I'm going to go ahead and add some here, and I'm just going to try to stay inside of the lines. And just do a layer of that. Now I do have another one of these that I was working on, so it's a set of 2, and on that other one I used, I don't know if you remember, I used or I purchased this glitter glue. I did use it on that other one, and I didn't care for the I guess the consistency of it and the coverage. I think just for the amount of effort that I put into trying to get it smooth, and the amount of glitter that I wanted on the project wasn't that worth it to me to move forward with doing it on this one. I'll show it to you. It just, I didn't care for it, but here's how it looks. You can, I don't even know if it's picking up the glitter. I think it would be more worth it to just take like either an iridescent glitter or a lime green glitter, if you can find that, if you're wanting to go with the glitter effect on this, and mix it with the Mod Podge and just paint that on. It just seems like you would have less effort than to try to use the Dollar Tree one. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this here, and I am intending to put, well, I probably won't need to with the amount of Mod Podge I have here, but I did do 2 coats of it on that other one. So I'm just going to continue to do this, and then I'll show you the final results. So for this next DIY, I'll be using this Farm Fresh sign from the Dollar Tree. I've already removed the leaf and the hanger from it. I am going to keep this the way it is because I do like the way that it looks. So I'm actually going to turn it over to the back. And on the back, you'll kind of see that I've already started to draw out the apple. So we'll have the poison portion here, the apple and the stem. So it's going to be much like the project before, where we do the red, green, and brown, and then I may do something else with the leaf, but I would like to use the leaf in this because it's a nice leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the red chalk paint. Next, I'm going to come in with the black and red, the red apple and the black Craft Smart paint mixture, and go around the poison part again like we did with the smaller apples, and do the same thing where I kind of line it and then spread out the paint. Next, I'm going to come into the stem portion here, and again, you want your solid line to be facing in or towards the bottom, and then come back, smudge it out. Right, now I'm going to take my pencil and come over here and do my shine. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of like a curved exclamation mark. Next, I'm going to come in with some white chalk paint by Waverly and a flathead brush. Not that one. Here it is. And I'm just going to work out of the cap here and just come around and fill that in. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and then I'm going to come over it with another coat to make it more solid. And then also, before I come back, I'm going to cover this area with the green portion with the gloss Mod Podge. The apple is almost dry with the Mod Podge, last coat of Mod Podge that I put on it. And then I completely forgot that I was gonna use this leaf. So I went ahead and did the moss Waverly chalk paint, and then I used this holiday green over that. And now I'm gonna come in with this campground Craft Smart paint. So I'm gonna take the campground green and do the veining on here, and I'm just using a fine paintbrush. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm gonna do with this leaf here. Now the next thing that I wanted to add to the apple is this beware sign. It does come in like a galvanized color, and I went ahead and took it out and sprayed it with a matte colored spray paint. I was thinking about glittering it, but I don't know. So I'm gonna kind of hold off on that. So here's our apple, and I think the Mod Podge is pretty dry on there. I just wanted to come in also and show you that I came in on the stem. Yeah, I guess it's better not to block the light. I came in on the stem and just did some little swirlies and some little marks to give it a little extra something. I felt like it was too plain sitting up there. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is take the widest of these Papa Dot tapes. These are double-sided, like foam tape. I'm gonna use this to stick on the beware sign to give it just a little bit of dimension off of the actual apple. So I'm going to be sticking this just in a couple of spots. Okay, so I'm gonna stick it, I think, get up. Stick it right there. To add this leaf, I don't even remember how this was on here, if I'm being honest. But I think I'm liking that. So what I'm gonna do is take a little piece of tape, because I don't want it to be permanent on here, because I do like the back of it, so I don't want to glue it in case I want to take it off and use the other side. So just as a temporary thing, I know it's not going to be the prettiest. For the last step, I added this hanger to it. This is one of those garden hangers that you can get at the springtime. It's separate. It's a separate piece than the actual basket itself. So I just took one of the chains and to obviously shorten the chain, and took it and just kind of threaded it through the back here. Yeah, just threaded it through the back here, and then added the hook back onto it. So this is it, and stay tuned for final pictures. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button and leave me a comment below. If you'd like to see more, subscribe and choose all notifications so you don't miss my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, love, inspire, create. See you next time.